The studio lights at Fox News blazed down on the stage as the cameras rolled. The episode had been advertised all week as a special debate between conservative firebrand Mark Levin and outspoken Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Viewers across the nation tuned in with eager anticipation, knowing that when these two sharp-tongued figures clashed, sparks were guaranteed to fly. The control room director whispered into his headset, "We're live in 3, 2, 1. Mark Levin, known for his booming voice and razor-sharp critiques, leaned forward at the table, already looking impatient. His glasses rested on the tip of his nose, his notes stacked neatly beside him. Across from him, Jasmine Crockett sat calm, her signature confidence radiating through her poised smile. She wore a sleek navy blue suit, her hair perfectly styled, her posture steady, ready for whatever was about to come. The host opened with a broad question about the state of American politics, but Levin wasted no time jumping in. "Congresswoman Crockett," Levin began, pointing a finger, "you and your colleagues on the far left have turned this country upside down with reckless spending, weak border policies, and dangerous rhetoric. Don't sit here and tell me you care about the American people when everything you've done says otherwise." Jasmine opened her mouth to respond, but Levin immediately cut her off. "No, let me finish," he barked, voice rising. "You want to lecture us about democracy while your party weapons government agencies against its opponents. That's the real threat to freedom." The audience shifted in their seats, murmurs spreading. Crockett kept her composure. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm, deliberate. "Mr. Levin, I understand you have strong feelings. But if you want to have an honest conversation, you might want to let me finish a sentence." The crowd chuckled lightly, but Levin pressed on, unwilling to yield. "Don't play that game with me," he snapped. "I've been doing this longer than you've been in politics. The facts are on my side, not your sound bites." Again, Jasmine began to reply, and again, Levin thundered over her words. "You voted for trillions in spending. You supported disastrous foreign policies. Don't deny it." At this point, the host tried to step in, reminding both guests to allow each other time. But Levin was on a roll, his interruptions relentless. Each time Crockett opened her mouth, his booming voice drowned her out. The Congresswoman's supporters on social media began lighting up Twitter with hashtags like #LetJasmineSpeak and #LevinInterrupted. Clips of his constant talking over her spread within minutes. Finally, after nearly 15 minutes of being interrupted, Crockett leaned back, folded her arms, and allowed Levin to go on unchecked. She didn't raise her voice, didn't argue, she simply waited, her expression unreadable. Levin mistook her silence for weakness and kept hammering his points, his voice growing more animated, his words rushing faster. The host struggled to maintain control, but by now, the debate was lopsided. Levin was talking, Crockett was listening. But what the audience didn't realize was that Jasmine Crockett was waiting. She knew her moment would come. When Levin finally paused for breath, Crockett leaned forward, her voice low but piercing. "Are you done, Mr. Levin?" The silence that followed was deafening. The crowd leaned in. Levin blinked, momentarily thrown off. "Because," Crockett continued, her words deliberate and sharp, "I've noticed something tonight. You've spoken over me at least 14 times. You've shouted, pointed fingers, and thrown accusations. But what you haven't done is answer a single question with substance." The audience broke into applause. Levin waved his hand dismissively, but Crockett didn't stop. "You see, Mark, interruptions might work in a radio studio where you control the mic. They might even work when you're talking to people who are afraid of you. But they don't work here. Because the American people can see through noise. And when the shouting ends, all that's left is truth." Levin tried to interject again, but this time Crockett raised her voice slightly, not shouting, but commanding. "No, sir. You will listen for once. You accuse me of reckless spending, but let's talk numbers. Under the last Republican administration, the deficit ballooned by nearly $8 trillion. You accuse me of weakness on borders, but your party blocked bipartisan reform. You claim to love democracy, but you excuse attacks on it when it benefits your side. That is not patriotism, that is partisanship." The audience roared, clapping and cheering. Levin's face flushed red. He slammed his hand on the desk. "That's not true. That's..." But Crockett cut him off this time, her timing perfect. "Mark, you can interrupt me all night, but But here's the difference between us: I came here to have a conversation. You came here to win an argument. And tonight, you lost before it even began. The crowd exploded into standing applause. Some cheered, some laughed, and others simply shook their heads at the fiery exchange. Levin sat back, lips pressed into a tight line, unable to find the words. For the first time that evening, he was silent. The host, sensing the moment had reached its climax, quickly wrapped up the segment. Well, I think we can all agree this was spirited. Thank you both for joining us tonight. But as the cameras panned out, the final image viewers saw was Jasmine Crockett sitting calm, collected, and smiling, while Mark Levin sat seething in silence. By the next morning, the clip had gone viral. Headlines blared. Crockett silences Levin after repeated interruptions. Final line ends debate, Levin left speechless. Hashtag Let Jasmine Speak becomes top trend after heated exchange. For days, the moment was replayed across networks, podcasts, and social media feeds. And though Levin would return to his shows insisting he wasn't defeated, those who had watched live knew the truth. Jasmine Crockett's final line had ended the conversation forever.